Welcome to Day 10 here in Normandy, the home of the 2014 Alltech FEI World Equestrian Games. With 400 equestrian clubs, 5,000 horse breeders and 31 racecourses, Normandy is a fitting region in which to hold the major equestrian championship. The jumpers are underway next door in the first of their individual competitions. Yesterday, I caught up with two members of the Japanese jumping team, Taizo Sugitani and Tadahiro Hayashi, which will come later in the programme. Tomorrow sees the start of the four-in-hand driving. 4 years ago in Kentucky, Team USA had to settle for a silver medal in front of their home crowd. Will they be able to clinch gold on European soil here in France? To find out their thoughts, I'm pleased to welcome onto Chez Allison Stroud, Misdee Wrigley-Miller and world number one, Chester Webber. Thank you very much indeed for joining us this morning. Chester, one has to say you are in flying form at the moment. I don't think you've been beaten for several months, which puts a bit more pressure on you, I think.
No, you know, the horses are in good form. We have been beaten. I took a second team to Riesenbeck where we finished up 6th. I was really pleased with them, and we, together with my sort of whole team around me, we put together a schedule at the beginning of the season we felt like would prepare us the best to show up here in good form, and certainly we've hit our benchmarks along the way, so thank you.
Let's just reflect on Kentucky for a second. Obviously it was a great couple of weeks of equestrian sport there. Fantastic for you to be there in front of that home crowd. Did you enjoy Kentucky? Was it everything you expected it to be?
You know, Kentucky was really great. I think the Americans put on a great event. It was great to have the showcase of the four-in-hand driving sport at that level with that many spectators at home. It really helped sort of bring our sport to the people. And certainly our sport is growing in France, and certainly things like the World Equestrian Games here in Normandy will only help the sport grow in France, thus the sport growing worldwide, which is really our goal.
Growing rather rapidly, Misdee, because both you and Allison, rather staggeringly, I have just learned, have prior to December last year, so not only a few months ago, neither of you had actually driven competitively in four-in-hand. What are you doing here?
Well, neither one of us has been exactly ever backed away from a challenge, and this guy here just, encouraged both of us to give it a try. But no, I drove a pair in the pair championships last year, and put 2 more in front, and said, "Okay, let's give this a go." But it's been great.
And you actually competed together as a team in Simur, didn't you? Or you did. How did that go, Misdee?
It went very, very well. We ended up with Team Bronze. So I think, we're a little bit of the underdogs coming in here, but don't underestimate us.
I don't think anyone's. And in fact, in the level of sport that we've seen across the other disciplines, you couldn't underestimate anybody here. It's been absolutely fantastic. I don't know, when did you get here?
We arrived yesterday.
Oh, okay, so you didn't get an opportunity to witness any of what's been going on here.
No, but we've been following the news. It's been fantastic.
Allison, you also, I think only this January you started to drive competitively. Of course, historically, you come from a steeplechasing background, don't you?
I have done the hunters, jumpers, side saddle, and the steeplechasing, yes.
But I also need to tell the viewers, of course, you've ridden in the Maryland Hunt Cup.
That is correct.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it was really wonderful until the 17th fence. Then it was not as good, but then again, I don't really remember. But it was quite an experience, and the fun thing was that particular year, my good friend Joyce Slater was the first woman to win the Maryland Hunt Cup, and it was on a horse that I had helped train, and so it was very gratifying anyhow. It was fun. And I came back, and I had a horse which I was riding and training, and then became pregnant with my second child, and it became more awkward to make the weight and other complications of obvious nature. And so my husband said, well, I can ride this horse. And so he took over the ride for me, and he is a super competitor, and he actually won the Hunt Cup the following year. So,
and of course, in terms of in Europe, you're steeped in history here as well. You're in the record books because you're the first lady ever, or first American ever, to train a runner of the English Grand National.
Correct. There have been other Americans that have come over, but they were trained by English trainers. So our horse was the only horse that has run with an American trainer listed.
But January saw you pick up the reins with 4 horses as opposed to 1.
I actually have a lot of experience with driving 4-handed ponies. I've actually represented the U.S. at all the Pony World Championships. And Boyd Excel called me and said, okay, you've done ponies, now here's a team, go try it, get going, put together a syndicate, and America needs you. So I purchased this team in January, and we've been working hard to carry the flag at this event.
Chester, you mentioned about having another team. There's one thing getting a good team of 4 horses to work together, but you need to have a backup. I'm taking it's hard enough to get 4 to work together, let alone find additional horses. I mean, what is the process? How long does it take?
Sure. So most programs that are sort of in the top 10 in the world rankings we're all working with around 8 horses, and that doesn't necessarily mean that there's 2 separate teams of 4. It means that they sort of mix and match and fit together a bit, and hopefully synergetically. But in preparing for this event, we decided sort of early on in the winter which were our key sort of 5 horses to come to the competition. And we've kept those 5 together, and they've had a marvelous season. But as with every horse sport, you sort of always have one in the barn that's sort of heading out, maybe has a championship left in it, or a competition, or something like that. And then you have young ones that are coming along that don't have the experience necessary to be at a place like Normandy.
Do you each bring 5 horses? Is that your sort of allotted allowance? Allowed? Yeah.
Great question. So in our sport of driving, we drive 4 horses in front of the carriage, but we're allowed to jog 5 for the vet, and we can interchange them. And so many people say, well, what does that horse do? But often it's a horse that's a marathon specialist or something like that that'll come in and bring some speed to the team. And it could be a completely different breed of horse. There are quite a few drivers that have a trotter in their team that they bring in that might have had a racing career that just helps bring a little bit more speed into the team. But the movement and the frame to do the dressage at the highest levels, maybe not there. So that's sort of how it works. And then there's the other variable of a horse that maybe goes in the lead for one phase, might go in the wheel in the back for another phase. So there's a lot of changing around, and a lot of what drivers are doing as they prepare for big championships like this is trying to figure out what's the best combination, which horse where, how they fit together synergetically, so that at the end of the day, when you add them all up,
unit.
Yeah.
There are a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, there are. Well, actually, Misdee, I was very interested to see what Chester said, because if you've got your 5th horse, and you may have a slight injury, for example, on a horse, you might just cut themselves or something, so you've got to take them out. But that your spare, does it have to be good as a leader and as a wheeler, or do you then change everything round to fit the pattern and what you've got?
It depends on which horse it is that you have to take out, and
Sure.
where it went and what its job was, and if you have another horse that can sort of step up and fill that position. So that's why it's good to have horses that have at some point been in all of the positions. So in a worst case scenario, they can do that job if they must.
Are there different attributes for a lead horse as opposed to a wheeler? Mm-hmm. What are those? What are they?
The leaders, you want to be very focused, intense. I mean, they're a leader, so they go forward and they'll take the rest of the team, and they'll be brave. And you also want them to have the style, the elegance, and the presence, the charisma. The wheelers are the workers in this case.
Okay, in terms of pulling the okay.
Yeah, they do most of the heavy pulling, literally.
Right. So it's not if you like, the weight that is behind the four horses, the carriage, the drivers, the grooms, and all that, the most of that's being pulled by the wheelers. Exactly. Not the for want of a better word, the steering is being done by the lead horses.
Well, they show the way.
Sure.
They don't steer, the carriage. It's the wheelers actually get to do that, but they show the way, especially in the marathon phase. You have to have horses that are really quick thinkers, and there's that split second of communication between your hand and pulling on their mouth to let them know. They have to really work well together and know when to get into that turn quickly.
I know, and it's like that, going at that speed with four horses in a carriage, there's not a lot of room. Alison, do you get a chance to, have you been down, have you seen the marathon course yet? Is it open yet for you?
It's not open till this evening.
Oh, okay.
We've sort of gone by it from a distance.
Well, you're banned, are you, until this evening?
Correct. It's not open until after the inspections and stuff.
Now, in Kentucky, the marathon was through the trees and around those sort of tracks and things through the woods. Looks a bit different down here, I think, isn't it? It's more around by the race course.
It is, but different venues have different complexions. It's similar to some others, so.
And when you walk the course, if that's the correct expression, I presume you spend a long time looking at the obstacles, because it is so. It's always amazing to non-drivers, even top-class equestrian riders. They watch you guys pull this amazing, huge bits of kit and four horses and do it, especially when you do the cones, and when we see it with the cones on the indoor driving. It's real Formula One stuff, or maybe it's rally driving stuff. I presume it's terribly exciting too, isn't it, Chester?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's been a great showcase for our sport to allow us to bring our sport to big crowds at major sort of indoor dressage and jumping venues. And
are you spending a great deal of time in Europe now? 'Cause
I've been here since my horses flew to Stansted, England, just before Royal Windsor the week before. We competed at Royal Windsor, and then since then they've been in Germany, and then they'll leave shortly after this and head home to Florida.
Great. So you've only been here for 24 hours or so. You haven't had a chance to have a look around the Games Village or any of the sites that have been. I'd strongly recommend it. There's an awful lot going on. So when do you start, Misdee? When do you get underway?
The first dressage starts on Thursday, and we won't know until after the draw where we sort of wind up, but it starts Thursday.
And as we've said at the beginning, there's, I think, Allison, it was you that said that there's more people doing this sport now than there has been, or Chester may have said that. It's, as always, at the championship, you can predict nothing. Although there are some great teams here, it's very, very open.
And there's a lot of variables with four horses, as you've seen in the previous sports, with when people have a horse, how things can change. Well, you've got four that could go well or wrong. So you have a lot of variables in this sport.
Well, and you're probably aware that your reigners filled every podium that there was going, which was, and very exciting it was too. Did you get a chance to have a look at that on television at all?
I have been able to watch that a little bit.
It was very, very good. It was excellent. And Mandy McCutcheon, of course, being the first lady to get on the podium. So a bit of pressure on you guys, I think.
What is it? We like to say we eat pressure for breakfast.
Chester, you are. I mentioned at the beginning that you're in flying form, but you look pretty relaxed and chilled out about the whole thing. Is just another competition to you, or you feel particularly excited you're at World Games? We've been planning this for a long time. Jane Clark's program is all about championships, and so we've been working hard at this. But I feel like we have a very good plan, and the horses seem to be in good form. If the horses are in good form, I keep calm and quiet and relaxed. And this morning they trained really well. They opened the main dressage stadium, which is actually very new to us in driving. Usually the first time your horses see that stadium is really the when they go into exactly when they ring the bell for the dressage test.
And there were some nice opportunities to be able to touch a leader with a long whip and say, hey, I'm here with you. And so I really hope I've one of my strongest points in the sport of driving, if you look at my record historically, has been the dressage phase, and I'm sort of excited that I was able to put some little tune-up pieces today, this morning in the ring, and but let the sport begin, and we'll see how it unfolds.
Great. Well, ladies, 12 months ago, you wouldn't have even had an idea that you were going to be in France this September. It must be extraordinary and very exciting for you too.
It really is, because 4 years ago I was on the organizing committee for the driving at WIG. My husband and I have a farm in Lexington, and actually Chester and the rest of the American team came to our farm to train. And 4 years ago, if you told me that I would be competing at the next WIG, I would have said, well, no, you've had a little too much to drink, I think. So it's a thrill. It really is.
Yeah. And Allison, you've done a great deal of different equestrian sports, as you mentioned. Is driving going to be the focus for the next few years?
It certainly looks like it.
It does, doesn't it?
You know what? It's just so much fun. It is like magic when you have the 4 horses in front of you and they're all balanced and they're all trotting to the same tune. I don't think anything's better than that.
No, and I have to say that drivers at your level, you do make it look very easy, which of course it isn't, but you do make it look very elegant indeed. It's absolutely fabulous. Well, welcome to France again, and we look forward to following your progress over the next few days, and the very, very best of luck to you all. And thank you so much indeed for joining us today. Thank you. Well, yesterday, Sienna went and had a little day out in Caen to have a look at the sights. Let's go and see what she got up to.
Hi Phil, no competition going on today, so I thought I'd give you a quick guided tour of Caen. Wow, look at this! Hi Phil, I'm here on top of the castle. Good job I don't have a fear of heights, isn't it? There's a population of over 100,000 people here, which makes it one of the 3rd largest cities in the whole of Normandy. Great view from up here too. I can see the marina over there, and the stadium is all the way down there. Ooh, looks like my grandma's been in action here with all this crochet. I love the flowery legs. Bonjour! A lot of Caen was bombed during World War II, but it's been cleverly restored into the modern, vibrant city it is today. Nice restaurants too. It's not exactly Caen, but it's still nice. This city is steeped in history, and one of the most famous people to have lived here is William the Conqueror, and he's buried in this abbey. I've really enjoyed seeing Caen. Very interesting city. Time for a drink now, though. Cheers, Phil. Oh, lovely.
Cheers, Sienna. Well, yesterday I caught up with 2 members of the Japanese jumping team. Taizo and Tadahiro, thank you for joining us in the studio. First of all, you've just come out of the stadium for your familiarization. How are the horses? How was it in there today?
Okay, my horse was extremely fresh.
Oh, was he?
Yes, bucking, but I think he's quite happy.
And of course, going into the stadium, the weather is really nobody watching at the moment, and then it'll be very different in tomorrow, for example. Will that affect your horse more, or do you think you'll be all right, or be a little bit more fresh tomorrow?
Well, I'm sure he will have a little bit of issue, but second day, third day, I hope he gets better.
Tadahiro, this is your first Alltech FEI World Equestrian Games. You must be very proud.
Yeah, I do, but it is a first feeling for me in the World Games. So I'm really happy to be here, and I'm really exciting.
We must tell the world, of course, you have been based in Germany for 5 years with the maestro, Ludger Beerbaum. That is a huge privilege. And tell us a little bit about your 5 years with Ludger.
Okay, I came in Germany, so I don't know anything. I doing the shows in Japan, okay, but nothing about world class. And he teach me every day and training with Ludger and all the top riders. So that was a really big step to be.
Sure.
And I'm really happy to be there. And thank you for helping us to be world game. I hope the next step coming soon.
Yeah, good. Taizo, although you only look like very young, I'm going to call you a veteran because I think you've competed in 5 Olympic Games representing Japan, and I think this is your 6th. Is it your 6th World Equestrian Games? That's, you know, are you a hero in Japan?
You have to ask people in Japan.
I think you are a hero in Japan. But how does that feel to be at the top of the tree for your country in any sport, let alone, you know, this sport?
It's very difficult to stay in that level for many years. But, you know, many thanks to my family who is supporting me the whole time, and without their help, I would not be here.
And Tadahiro, you and Taizo do have something in common, apart from both being in the team here in Caen. Both your fathers represented Japan in the Olympic Games. So for you, Tadahiro, following in your father's footsteps like that, that must be nice.
That feels good, yes.
Yeah. And will they visit here in Caen? Will any members of your family come to watch?
Yes, he is here.
They're
My
here?
parents is here.
Oh, perfect. And Taizo, you, of course, your family are used to you being there in the spotlight. Do any family travel to come from Japan to come here?
Yes, they're arriving tonight.
Oh, great. So you've got is there going to be a big support group?
Yes.
Great. Let's just talk about, I know you've not recently arrived, but let's just talk a little bit about the games here in Caen. You've travelled here from Germany, both of you. What are your feelings, first of all? Do you get excited when you arrive here? Something like this?
Yes, of course. I see all the top riders, top horses, and I watched the event in show jumping yesterday, and you can feel the atmosphere.
Wasn't that fantastic in there yesterday? It was top class sport. Yeah, very, very good. And Tadahiro, for you, will Ludger be helping you here this week?
Yes, he will.
It must be.
I hope so.
Yeah. It must be very nice having somebody of that caliber.
Absolutely.
To be under their wing, if you like. Yeah, fantastic. Well, we wish you every success for the next few days and hope that everything goes very well for you, your horses, and of course your whole team. So, but it's very kind of you to join us, and it's great to meet you. Thank you very much indeed.
On the FEI's Instagram, a heartwarming photo taken by Liz Gregg has been uploaded of a vaulter kissing his horse with true affection, with the caption, "Vaulters have arrived, bringing with them lots of love." On the FEI's Twitter page, there's a link to an interview of Michael Whitaker. Listen to Michael Whitaker after his clear in 85.12 seconds in the hashtag jumping speed competition. Also on Twitter, it's nice to see fans expressing their excitement about the show jumping and vaulting kicking off. On FEI's Facebook page, an incredible vaulting photo has been uploaded of the vaulter above his horse's back, more or less upside down in mid-air. Now that's what you call flexibility. From me, Sienna, see you tomorrow for more social media updates.
Thanks, Sienna. Tomorrow is day 11 of the Alltech FEI World Equestrian Games, and we'll be back with more insights and news on Chez. For the meantime, it's bye-bye.